What's up, Sterile Processing Universe? It's Hank Balch here. Thank you for watching another episode of Fighting Dirty. And today we're going to answer the question, do I stay or do I go? This is a question lots of sterile processing professionals today are asking themselves about the job market. We could potentially be heading toward a recession, it looks like, in the economic sense. And the competitive job market is going to change. You know, the last couple of years, it's been a great time to make a lot of money in the traveling space, and we've actually done some videos about that I'll link to in the show notes. But now, you know, that dynamic is changing a little bit, and it's still a competitive market out there, and there's still opportunities. And all of y'all continue sending us photos and links of like fast food places um, that are paying $21 an hour, or you know, the Home Depot across the street that's now hiring, you know, for $25 an hour. There's lots of competitive offers in industries out there. So the question is, do you stay or do you go? And the answer to that question is actually more individual than industry wide. I think it really comes down to your individual skill set and your long-term goals for growth in the industry. If you're just looking for any job with some job security and opportunity for growth, uh, you've got a lot of options outside of sterile processing. There's a lot of different industries that are great job security. I know the cliche is, well, there's always going to be healthcare. Well, yeah, but there's there's also always been a lot of other industries too. Like there's always going to be need for sales, y- whatever capacity. If you learn how to sell, someone will always need you to help to sell their widget or their service. That's never going away. There's always going to be a food industry, whatever that looks like. You know, fast food kind of goes up and down. The restaurant industry goes up and down, but there's always going to be that skill set. So ultimately, it comes back to who you are as an individual and what that long term growth plan is. Now, I will say in sterile processing now, like I've been since 2009, there's tremendous opportunity within sterile processing for high achievers that have particular skill sets around um, that kind of multitasking skill, the attention to detail, uh, in particular the ability to manage people and to play the political game. I don't mean like the kiss butt game, but I mean that kind of conflict resolution, how to bring the whole room down a notch if it's getting crazy, if you got surgeons that are screaming, if you got operating room uh, personnel that are trying to bully potentially. If you've got a skill set that you can de-escalate that situation, that's a huge skill set with a lot of growth potential inside sterile processing departments up into that supervisor, manager, director role, and even outside of the sterile processing world. Well, outside the sterile processing department, but still in the industry on the vendor side. Because as any vendor will tell you, there will be conflict when it comes to your customers. Customers are going to get upset about a product not working the way that they thought it was going to work, or really letting them down in a critical situation. So having the ability to de-escalate the situation, to communicate what's going on clinically in that sterile processing workflow, very, very, very valuable skills. Now, let me take a quick step back here as we wrap up. There are many of you tuning in. They're like, oh, I don't want to be a leader. I just want a job where I can come in, do a great job, go home fulfilled, and have a paycheck that's reasonable enough to take care of my family. Even with that, in sterile processing, there is opportunity to do that. It's a little harder because you do have to be strategic with where you go work. And I mean, in the geographical territory that you live, but also even, do you want to work in the hospital setting? There are ambulatory surgery centers out there that sometimes, depending on the dynamic, they will pay you more, and the hospitals will pay you. And there's even vendors today that have roles that are close to what a sterile processing technician would do, but they've got other responsibilities that they're actually able to pay you more. A good example of that i- is all these roles out there that are kind of like on-site specialists, and you see them often with like scope reprocessing companies or scope manufacturers, I should say, and the instrument repair type of company. So you can to go the repair route. There's a tons of different directions you can go if you don't want to stay in SPD and you don't want to become into that kind of leadership kind of category that would require all those conflict resolution skills. So I'm not going to be able to answer that question at the end of the day for you. Do you stay or do you go? And actually, no one else is in the industry. We can tell you about opportunities, we can tell you about directions, but ultimately, you have to decide that for yourself. Now, here's the good news, you're not really going to make a wrong decision. And what I mean by that, if you decide to stay, hang out for another 6 months or 12 months and just see what happens. If that opportunity for promotion comes around, if the opportunity for a raise comes around, if you get a retention bonus, great. That was a good decision to stay. If you stay for 6 months and you're like, this ain't changing, I'm not getting what I want out of this opportunity, then go. And the same is true if you decide to go and say, hey, I'm hanging it up. I'm going to become a firefighter, or I'm going to go work at the Home Depot across the street. Go do those things. y- y- your skill sets are not going to go away overnight. How you will want to be careful to maintain your certifications just in case you decide, 12 months or 24 months down the road that, hey, I actually really liked that job in sterile processing. It's way more fulfilling than whatever these other roles are, and I want to come back. So, uh, what I'm saying is, it's decision. Do you stay or do you go? It's not a one-time decision. It's not a, oh my gosh, I'm going to ruin my life if I make the wrong decision. It really is just another step in the direction of your career growth. You can go back, you can go forward, you can go sideways. But in our economy today, all the numbers tell us that people who make changes, career changes, uh, every 2 to 3 years, they end up making more money than people who stay in the same job year after year after year after year. Because those annual raises don't keep up with the amount of money that someone who says, hey, I got 3 years of experience, now I'm going to go be a supervisor over here, and now I'm going to go be a manager over here, or now I'm going to apply to this vendor, and I'm going to become an on-site specialist. Uh, Even though in the past it was like a good thing to have 10, 20 years experience at the same job, and that's still a good thing, it just it will have a negative impact on your overall potential to earn. That's just the reality. That's the world that we're living in. So keep that in mind as you're making all these decisions. All right. We're going to wrap up this one. As I said, we've got a lot of career growth development videos on this channel. If you have not yet subscribed, please hit that subscribe button and and the bell, and that bell will notify you anytime that we have a new video that hits. That way you can scoop up that great career development content. And as always, thank you so much for watching. And until next time, keep fighting dirty.